Hello friends, we are in the second part of the second module from RPE. In this, so we'll discuss some of the very important questions that are being asked in the exam. So let me show you the question paper sample first. So which are all the questions that is been asked from the second module. See, from the second module we can see 4 questions here, that is 3AB and 4AB. Explain ethics with respect to normative science and positive science. Positive science. So write a brief note on intellectual honesty. This we have discussed in the previous video, that is part 1 of the module 2. Explain common types of scientific misconducts and what is plagiarism. State any 6 possible reasons for plagiarism. So this we will discuss in this video. So what is scientific misconduct? Scientific misconduct is a violation of the standard codes of scholarly conduct and ethical behavior in the publication of professional scientific research. The research misconduct is defined as fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing research or in the reporting of research results. So fabrication is nothing but modifying, or falsification is giving wrong results. Plagiarism means copying someone's data. So these are the main important misconducts that the scholars do in the research. Some of the common examples are misappropriation of ideas, plagiarism, self-plagiarism, falsification of data, failure to support validation or your research, and so on. So these are explained in detail, and basically you have to explain falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism in detail to get all the 10 marks on this scientific misconduct question. Okay, so we will start with the first, falsification. As I said before, that is giving or manipulating results, that is changing the results to show the positive results in your research. Okay, falsification is manipulating research materials, equipment, or processes, or changing or omitting data or results such that the research is not accurately represented in the research record. So falsification is easy to explain, whereas fabrication is manipulation of data, like you fabricate some results to get the positivity out of it. If in the research if you have got negative results, you cannot show the negative results. That will be a bad impression. To show the positive results, you do fabricate the data. Okay, fabrication is a construction or an addition of data, observations and or characterizations that never occurred. Yes, that never occurred in your research, so you just fabricate it as they have occurred. Okay, where claims made based on incomplete or assumed results in a form of fabrication. The validity of knowledge created by science and the credibility of science, truth and trust are undermined by fabrication. Yes, fabrication will spoil. Okay, for the time you are like your research is published, for that it is okay, but when that research is being referred by so many other scholars so that they can get help from your research in their research, so that will spoil everything. Okay, so this fabrication of data or claiming or false claiming in your research or showing the results which never occurred in your research is really a very wrong thing. Okay, so plagiarism, we have seen in the question paper that the plagiarism, the question has been asked on plagiarism, very important part of the research publication. Okay, plagiarism is a well-known keyword in the research and research publications. So what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is presenting someone else's work or ideas as your own. Someone's else work or ideas as your own, with or without their consent, by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. Okay, so all published and unpublished material, whether in the manuscript, printed, or electronic form, is covered under this definition. It paints a misleading picture of the researcher's own contribution. Plagiarism can involve copying words or images directly, or paraphrasing sentences or passages, or co-opting someone else's ideas without citing the original work. In academic writing, there are various types of plagiarism you might encounter. Okay, and this is an important, you may be asked like, what is plagiarism? What are the types of plagiarisms? Okay, first type of plagiarism is global plagiarism, means plagiarizing an entire text. This includes purchasing an essay or turning in an assignment completed by someone else. Patchwork or mosaic plagiarism, it is incomplete plagiarism. This means copying phrases, passages, and ideas from different sources and compiling them into a new text. Incremental plagiarism means inserting a small amount of plagiarized content in mostly original text. Self-plagiarism means recycling your own previous work that you have already submitted or published. Okay, so plagiarism can be avoided by adopting following tips. Don't just copy, use a range of sources, develop your own style, use quotation marks, keep good quality of notes. So more thing you can explore on plagiarism, more thing you can write on plagiarism. Okay, so there are so many things that you can write on your own. So this is a very important question on plagiarism. Okay, so that you need to concentrate on. So the next part we will move on to the redundant publication, where we have duplicate publications and overlapping publications, or salami slicing. Salami slicing is a very important topic based on which the repetitive questions, frequently asked questions, okay, on salami slicing. Okay, so this particular part, again, duplication, overlapping, it sounds same, but there is only a certain amount of difference. Duplicate means copying someone's data or doing your same research again and again, publishing your research results into parts, okay, same results again and again, or overlapping with someone. Okay, so that is the thing that has been discussed here. So in the redundant publications, we have duplicate and overlapping publications. In the redundant publications, we have duplicate and overlapping publications. So redundant publication is a publication of a paper that overlaps substantially with one already published in print or electronic form. It occurs when two or more papers without appropriate full cross-reference share the same hypothesis, data, sample size, methodology, or similar results and conclusions. One study is split into several parts and submitted to two or more journals, or the findings have previously been published elsewhere without proper cross-referencing, permission, or justification. So here the factors that leads to the redundant publications are listed. These are the important thing. So publishing papers from one's own dissertation, reporting on longitudinal program of study, writing same content in various languages, writing same content for different audiences. So following all the problems created because of the redundant publications, like if you have a redundant publication, these are the problems that may occur. Precious time being wasted of the peer reviewers or editors who are reviewing your duplicate or plagiarized thing leads to flawed meta-analysis. Distort academic reward systems, infringement of copyright, and inflate scientific literature for no benefits other than the author. So duplicate and overlapping publication have duplicate publication or redundant form of publications. The publication occurs when an author reuses substantial part of their own published work without providing the appropriate references. So this can range from publishing an identical paper in multiple journals to only adding small amount of new data to a previously published paper. Secondary publication is an acceptable type of publication, the publication of the same article for different audience, for example, in a different journal or in a different language. Secondary publication is acceptable if approval from both editors, different audience, faithful reflection of data, primary reference is stated in footnote of the title page. How to identify the duplicate publication? So how to identify duplicate publications? Reproduction of an article already published using identical sample and outcomes, assembly of two or more articles to produce the new one, and reporting different outcomes from the same study sample. New data is added to a preliminary article, reporting part of a large trial and reporting identical outcomes. So what are all the problems that are caused by duplicate publication? The problems they cause are they waste finite resources, they overload available information, they overemphasize the finding, and duplicate publication contravene copyright law. If you have signed your copyright across to another journal, this is less of a problem these days with the open access, where the requirement for an author to hand over the copyright is becoming rare. So how to avoid duplicate publication? How to avoid duplicate publication is, again, no need to repeat unless further confirmation. Cite all the related papers, including those submitted but not yet accepted. full disclosure about previous publication, being clear about new information. Overlapping publication. For research reports, when two articles report the same analysis of the same dataset or contain relatively small amounts of the new data or alternative analysis compared with the original publication, particularly when this is done in such a way that the reviewers' readers are unlikely to realize that some of the findings have been published before. Salami slicing. As I said before, this is an important topic in this particular. Salami slicing is nothing but publication of two or more articles derived from a single study. Articles of such type report on data collected from a single study split into several segments just large enough to gain reasonable results and conclusions, also known as minimal publishable unit. The problematic act of dividing a research report in small units for the sake of multiple publication. A lot of people do this. Splitting of data derived from a single research idea into multiple smaller publishable units or slices involves breaking up or segmenting a large study into two or more publications. So why it is bad? Distortion of the literature by leading unsuspecting readers to believe that data presented in each salami slice is derived from a different subject's example, skews the scientific database, creates reputation that wastes readers' time as well as the time of editors and reviewers who must handle such papers separately, inflate the author's citation record. So when is it justified? If a major research project is so extensive that it involves several research groups across disciplines, so then it is justified that there are multiple publications to convey the overall impact of the research. So summary of this particular part is that you will study about the redundant publication, salami publication, that is publication of the paper that overlaps substantially with an already published in print or electronic form paper. Duplicate publication is a form of redundant publication. That is, publication occurs when an author reuses substantial parts of their own published work without providing the appropriate reference. So factors are own dissertation, different audiences in different languages you will publish. So problem caused by these publications or redundant publications are waste of resources, overload information, overemphasize findings, contravene copyright laws, and distort academic reward system. So how to avoid is cite as more paper as possible that you have included in your research. Disclosure statement is important, being clear, awareness about the redundant information, strict rules and penalties. Selective reporting and misrepresenting of data. Selective reporting bias is when results from scientific research are deliberately not fully or accurately reported in order to suppress negative or undesirable findings. A lot of research scholars do this. If they don't get the desirable result, they just do it or misinterpret it or interpret the data in such a way that it looks positive. So selective reporting bias can incorporate a number of other types of bias, such as publication bias, which is like results of negative clinical trials are not published or underpublished. So outcome reporting bias, results of negative clinical trials are cherry-picked or distorted to improve the overall findings. Next we have spin bias, that is communicating results in a way which amplifies positive findings or tones down negative findings. Next we have citation bias, that is positive studies are more likely to be cited than negative studies. That's why you misinterpret data. Design bias, a research team creates the process in which the experiment will be performed. If there isn't a wide enough selection of demographics and a large enough population in the data pool. So next we have procedural bias. Procedural bias can occur when a researcher decides that the next step in an experiment should go a predetermined way, whether the results of the previous step demonstrate that direction or not. So this is procedural bias. Next we have personal bias. The most difficult types of biases to avoid are personal bias because they are a part of the researcher's character. The scholar may not even realize they exist. Personal bias influence data collection when the interviewer is unconsciously or purposely using body language to get the respondent to answer a question in a certain way, or they can occur when the researcher is determining the importance of the qualitative data and choosing to omit the data because of the stereotype or belief they have that the certain demographics is not as important as another. So, factors which are leading to the selective reporting: omitting outcomes from the final publication of the study because of the selective decision that those findings were not significant enough to warrant being included in the article. Choosing data based on personal choices again is leading to the selective reporting. Only reporting subsets of data collected instead of using all the data to demonstrate a full understanding of a subject. Choosing to underreport data because of a decision that changes in the collected information were not deemed to be significant by the researcher. So, misrepresentation of data. Next topic is misrepresentation of data. That is, misrepresenting data include drawing unwarranted inferences from data, creating deceptive graphs of figures, and using suggestive languages for rhetorical effect. Interpretation of the results that is not consistent with the actual results of the study. This type of spin will alter the reader's critical appraisal of the study and could impact the interpretation of the evidence synthesis. There are three types of misrepresentation, that is innocent misrepresentation, negligent misrepresentation, and fraudulent misrepresentation. Misrepresentation also involves manipulation of image. Manipulation of the images includes image tampering, usage of filters to manipulate images, resizing of image, using the same image to represent different results, distorting visual representations such as increasing brightness. So, guidelines to prevent the manipulation of images are: author must provide original unprocessed images. Journal guidelines deal with the subject. Adjustments are only acceptable if they apply equally across the entire image. Checking correctness of the images. So, how to avoid data misrepresentation is: analyze complete data, use appropriate tools depending on the type of data, put data in context, avoid patterns of association between only 2 points. Data should be presented such that it is easily understandable. All data fields be appropriately labeled. Any special message, if associated with data, should be clear.